Hello, I'm Richard. In this week's episode, we're going to spend time with our 1974 VW Karmann Ghia, which has become one of my favorite vehicles. This thing is just a joy to drive. It is just so much fun. Plus, it's just a real conversation piece. No matter where you go, people love the car. So, what we've done is we've kind of continued our original effort, and that was to go to Laguna Seca. Last year, if you remember, if you've seen our video from gas to electric in 8 days, you'll remember the story behind this conversion. This car was purchased almost 2 years ago to be converted, and it sat for almost a year, occasionally driven as a gasoline car. And I kind of got a wild hair, decided that I'd take it to the refuel event last year on July 1st. Well, I didn't come up with the thought until the afternoon of June 23rd. And so we gave it our best effort to make it to Laguna Seca. I missed it by 7 hours. So definitely want to go this year. Car's been driven over 7,000 miles since July 1st. It is just an extremely fun car. And so the handling of this car was greatly improved when we converted it. Prior to being converted, it had quite a bit of body roll, and it just had the stock anti-sway bar in the front that they come with from the factory. And you know, it's not a bad handling car, just not as nice as I'd like it to be. But in converting it and adding the battery pack to where the package shelf was in the car, that moved the weight center forward of the rear axles and just greatly improved the handling of this car, more so than what we've done this weekend. It made a huge difference in the car's weight placement on the tires, and just made it right around the corners, a much more level, flat trip around the corner. So anyway, I thought that we would increase the handling a little bit by adding a heavy-duty anti-sway bar in the front and an anti-sway bar in the rear. This car is not a race car. It was not designed to go on the track. It's designed to be a commuter car. It has our commuter package in it, and so that is not our objective, to have a race car. If it was, we would have put a different motor and controller in it from the get-go. But this is my daily driver. It's a car I enjoy driving every day. We've kept it light and nimble. And so the point is that we're trying to show that you can have a commuter car that is environmentally friendly, efficient, clean, fun to drive, and yet do a few other things fairly well also. So next weekend we'll be autocrossing this car, and that's what kind of prompted putting the anti-sway bars on at this point. So we'll see what kind of video footage we get next weekend, but like I said, weather permitting, it will be on a local autocross course. And then this year, hopefully they hold refuel again, and we'll be at Laguna Seca in this car also. It won't be the fastest car, but we hope to make up for what it lacks in speed, acceleration-wise, that it'll be able to zip through the corners real nice. Plus, adding the handling just makes it a lot more fun for me to drive. I'm a hot rodder at heart, and this car is just a hoot to drive. Next to my Miatas, this is my favorite car to drive. And so in this video we're going to show you uh, some footage of this car going around a corner, and we enter the turns at well, when it was with just the original anti-sway bar between 40 and 45. After we put the heavy duty bars on, we never entered the turn below 45 miles an hour, somewhere between 45 and 50 miles per hour. And you'll see the difference in the body lean as it comes through the turns. And so we hope you enjoy the video. If you have any questions, email us at info@evforyounow.com, and hope you enjoy. These are the front and rear anti-sway bars and related components that we picked up from Wolfgang International and that we're going to install on the Karmann Ghia. This is the front, and it comes with a sway bar and some bushings. The rear, sway bar, bushings, and other hardware. Kind of give you a look at the diagram here as to how they say it goes in. We'll show you actually in the vehicle. Same way with the front. One thing I gotta say is the instructions for this are very poorly written. It's just almost not worth having at all. Anyway, before we jack up the front end, we'll loosen the lug nuts, then we'll jack up the front end and remove the wheels. Alright, with all the lug nuts loosened, we'll jack up the front end, place our jack stands in place, and of course we have the parking brake on. Place our jack stand so it goes underneath the lower beam and positioned in such a way that they don't interfere with the exert fitting here. Okay, we now have the weight on the jack stands, and then I support it just with the jack also. So now we'll remove the lug nuts and pull the wheels off. And of course, while we're here, we always check the brakes, ball joint seals, so forth. Make sure everything looks good while we're in the neighborhood. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is lift up this tang and then drive this clip off, and we have to do that for both of them. And it's one of those things that's much easier said than done. So let's get it. So I've got my screwdriver underneath this to start it. Being bent up a little bit here. There we go. And we'll take some pliers. See if I can get these channel locks on there, or these vice grips, I mean. Okay. Okay. That's one down. Let's see. I might not be able to. Yeah. There we go. Both of them removed. We'll remove the clips and pull out the anti-sway bar. So, getting these clips off. So basically what we're doing is we're exchanging these bushings for a bushing that is capable of handling a larger diameter anti-sway bar. And we'll show you that in a moment. We'll put the two side by side for a comparison. Okay, we're going to kind of leave those in place. So, Just have to do the same to the other side, and we'll be about ready to go install the new one. Well, now you can see why we're doing this. The difference in diameter between the two sway bars. See if I can get a better angle here. A little bit different. So anyway, I got to grease up the bushings, and we'll start to put this new bar into place. Well, I'll try to videotape this without nothing but me in the picture and in the way, but it's kind of hard to get a good angle here. Anyway, I cleaned the clamps, and I cleaned the arm, kind of the trailing arm that comes out of the torsion bar tube there. And so cleaned the surfaces. We greased the inside of the bushing. I've set it in place, and you know, it's a little bit of work to get everything lined up and in proper position. So didn't videotape that battle, but so now I'm going to pull those clamps together and put the clip back on. So I'm going to pull the clamp together here. Try to slide this clip back on. And then hopefully everything's in proper place. It looks like it. Things kind of change as you put weight back on the front end and the suspension goes up. So before I tighten up that one, I need to kind of get some space here. There we go. And we'll try to kind of awkward position here. Trying to stay out of the way of the camera. Those of you that are real detail oriented, you notice I'm using a screwdriver instead of a punch. Not necessarily the best tool for the job. Okay. Okay, There we have it. Slide this guy down. I'm afraid that was probably the easy one. And I'm not an expert at this, so it may have been better to put this one on first. Okay. Okay. Kind of a crazy angle to dangle here, trying to do this and not block the camera. Anyway, there it is. That's one side in place. Looks good. And so I'm going to do the other side and we'll take it back from there. Okay, put the wheels back on, and then we're going to take it around our little corner again. Do that 3 times like we did with it in the stock configuration. And so we're going to do it now with just the new front anti-sway bar in place, and take a look at it and see how she looks. We do have KYB gas shocks in the front of this car, but the biggest improvement thus far has been the weight. Putting the weight of the batteries just in front of the rear axle makes a huge difference in the handling of this car. It just stays nice and flat now. Unbelievable. That's why we haven't swapped the anti-sway bars sooner, as it handles so well now. But really, it was like, what was the point? It just stays nice and flat around the corners. Handles very nicely. So that corner that we showed you, you could see there was a little bit of lean. That was at 45 miles an hour, and I'm getting on the throttle, which helps level it out a little bit, but I also was pulling it a little bit too to make it lean a little bit more. So it, you know, all things considered, I wish we had footage of it as a gasoline powered vehicle taking the same turn. You would have seen a much greater body roll than we have now. Putting the weight further forward and nice and low just really makes this a nice handling little vehicle. So now, with the larger front bar on, we'll take a look and see how it does. And then as soon as we're finished filming that, we'll come back and we'll put the rear anti-sway bar on. That's a totally aftermarket product. They never came with a rear anti-sway bar, and I believe prior to 1960 they didn't have a front anti-sway bar. So we'll see what kind of differences these modifications make. And the reason I'm doing it now is that this next weekend, and of course weather permitting, there's going to be a local autocross, and I thought it might be kind of fun. I normally take one of the Miatas, but thought we'd take the Karmann Ghia out and see how she does. We're also planning to have her at the refuel event this year, the event that we tried to make last year, and the reason why we converted this in 8 days. And so we're going to do a few things to prepare for that, since we have more time this year. Make the suspension upgrades. This is not a race car. It wasn't designed to be a race car. It's a commuter vehicle. It's designed to be light and fun to drive. And so we have a 14.6 kilowatt hour battery pack. We have a 500 amp Curtis controller and 146 volt system. So it's designed as a commuter vehicle, not as a race vehicle. So it's not going to set any speed records on the track, but we are hoping that overall it'll have a decent time for an electric vehicle, just because I'm not going to have to slow down for the turns. We're going to keep her on the floor all the way around. So it'll be interesting to see how she does. I hope you stay tuned to see those episodes. So let me put the other wheel on, take this thing off the jack stands and jacks, torque down the lugs, put the hubcaps back on, and go hit a corner. See what we can do with just this new bar on the front. From in here I can feel it already. Quite a difference.
Going into the turn at 45, coming out at 50.
Well, we're going to call it a day. I got to get cleaned up and be someplace tonight. But we got the rear anti-sway bar installed. It was not bad. Not too tough to put in. What was interesting was that their instructions weren't worth squat. They told you what wrenches you would need. They listed 3 sizes. You didn't use a single one of the sizes they listed. So, you know, it pretty much goes in just as you would think it would. And so, instructions were pretty much worthless. But let's take a close-up look here. Alright, here's the view from underneath. The bar attaches at 2 points to the torsion bar tube in the rear. Let's see if we can get a shot of that. So there's the torsion bar. Goes across. Okay. And so 2 points kind of out towards the outboard sides of the vehicle. It has a little drop into it to miss the forks there for the transaxle mount. And then it comes over here, and there was a bracket that bolted onto the swing arm there. And then this is the end of the torsion bar. So you have a grommet here, here, and here. Nylon stop nut. And then there's the mount here, neoprene mount, and it's strapped on here. So it looks pretty secure. Everything's kind of tucked up. With the camera like this, it looks like it's hanging down quite a bit. It's not really. Once we drop this back down on the ground, you pretty much won't see anything. So that's nice. But it should increase our handling and stability. To what degree, we're going to find out. Won't be able to video it this evening. 2 reasons. One, I've run out of time. I need to go hit the shower. And the second is the direction that we've been filming is pointing to the west, and the sun will be low enough now we'd be shooting into the sun. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow morning to get the video, the final series of 3 trips around the corner there, see what kind of body lean we have. Should be interesting to see what happens. It rides so nice now. It just corners fabulously. So putting this on, we'll see. Yeah, it feels right now like we're at the point where the only thing that's holding this thing back is the tires. Everything is sitting pretty flat, and so all the tires seem to be fairly evenly weighted. So that's what you want, maximum traction on all 4, because all 4 have the same weight and footprint. So we'll find out tomorrow how it goes. I'm going to let her down off the jack, pull out the jack stands, and we're out of here.
breezy this morning. We're in the 40s right now.